How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drew Estate Cigar Studios for episode 159 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and of course, for those of you listening on the audio podcast, thanks so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. We really appreciate that. And of course, you guys saw the big announcement from Drew Estate just last week. They have revealed the secret identity of the mystery cigar, and it is the all-new Nica Rustica Adobe, the second expression in Drew Estate's value-priced Nica Rustica line. The Nica Rustica brand is Drew Estate's homage and tribute to Esteli, Nicaragua. The Nica Rustica Adobe will be available in a 6x52 Toro, 5x54 Robusto, and a 6x60 Gordo, all presented in 25-count boxes. While retaining many of the same characteristics as the Connecticut broadleaf expression, Nica Rustica Adobe is the spicier version using a Habano wrapper, Brazilian binder, and Nicaraguan filler tobaccos from Esteli and Jalapa. Unpolished and refined, Nica Rustica Adobe is a medium to full-bodied cigar that offers loads of spice with a bold and very long finish. The perfect companion for adventurous cigar buffs. Nica Rustica Adobe will be available for regular production distribution to all retailers beginning in August. For more info, please visit drewestate.com. So, sad news common news for Minnesota sports fans. Sadly, the Minnesota Wild were eliminated from contention in the Stanley Cup playoffs by the St. Louis Blues. The Blues played a great series. The Wilds, had their chance, and they played really well in overall. They played really well.
They did play a good series,
but St. Louis is just extremely talented,
and it's Minnesota,
and it's a Minnesota sports team. So, and I saw somebody posted the whatever the horrible history of whatever the run that we're on right now with Minnesota sports teams when it comes to losses in
I don't want to talk about it.
Losses in playoffs and things like that, and it's just abysmal as far as
it is.
Everything except the Minnesota Lynx. Really, it's pretty terrible. But
you know what else is terrible? My muscles. So I see that Michelle is in the comments, and if anybody doesn't know the Pausers, they're on so many of the different cigar Facebook pages. They work out and they smoke cigars, and I was sick of some of this stuff, and I reached out to Tom and Michelle, and they put me on this program, and today was day one, and what I thought were two wonderful people are both assholes. They're assholes. So if anybody's wondering like what they're really like, they're assholes. I can barely move my arms, but I'm going to make it.
So will there be a day two?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm all in. I'm doing, the shake, the
shake
daily
weight.
It's a little, I would do the motion of the shake weight, but it would hurt right now. Literally my arms are like that. Like it's,
you got the
the shake.
Okay. Yeah.
And, but it's that, that you're working, that things are
I remember that Friends episode where I don't remember why, but they were in this coffee house one day, and one of them was his muscles were exhausted from working out or something like that, and he goes to reach for his coffee and he goes ow 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 ow, and then all the way up to his face ow 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 ow. So that's kind of where you're at right now.
It is totally where I'm at. The first when I went to open my car door with all my stuff, I was like, oh no, this is not going to be a good night. So tomorrow we'll have a whole new set of soreness, I'm sure. But yeah, it lets you know that you're doing things. And I'm honestly grateful for both of them. They are truly wonderful people.
Well, you feel the burn. Assholes. You feel the burn your way. I'll feel the burn my way.
Absolutely.
So, So let's get into our main segment of the evening, guys. We have a fantastic special guest that we're very excited to talk to. So let's get our special guest on episode 159. And as always, special guests on How About That Cigar Live are brought to us by our friends at Corona Cigar Company. Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. You'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, president and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Jeff Borshowitz believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please put your hands together and welcome to episode 159 of How About That Cigar Live from Rock-A-Feller Cigars, Mr. Kevin Schweitzer. Welcome to How About That Cigar Live.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing well. I see we caught you on the road. Tell us.
I'm usually on the road.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us where you're calling from and what you're smoking today.
I'm in downtown, beautiful, historic Fredericksburg, Virginia. This is right by a lounge that we deal with, Hogshead. I'm going to go there in the morning.
Awesome.
Fredericksburg, which is an excellent lounge. I'm smoking the Dominican Blues Short Pyramid. It's an Ecuadorian Habano. It's got some Dominican fillers with a Sumatra binder. It's an excellent cigar. And some secret sauce that we don't talk about, but yeah.
Absolutely. I have also fired one of these guys up and just getting into it, and it is delicious. Matt,
I'm going to fire one up myself.
Matt's going to fire one up right now, and that'll bring us to our toast cam situation. So stand by for toast cam. When lighting your cigar, it is important to be patient, pay close attention to detail, and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars of Dumbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit dunbartoncigars.com to learn more. So, Kevin,
Yes, sir.
we're extremely grateful to have you on the show for the first time. For those who may not know about Rock-A-Feller Cigars, they may not know about Kevin. Give us, kind of that what cigars was for you. When did you first get into cigars? And if you remember that first one, bring us through that.
Oh yeah, my grandfather gave me a White Owl in Brooklyn. At the aquarium.
Love it.
It was White Owls, Royal Jamaicans back then. Yeah, I was 19 years old. And my father held them in high regard. My father was a cigarette smoker. He never really smoked a cigar. But he loved his father so much that when he found out I was smoking cigars, he really didn't yell at him because he held him in such high regard.
Nice.
And did you follow?
That was probably my first cigar.
And did you enjoy it? Was that something that kind of stuck, or it was just one of those?
I actually liked the feeling of holding it in my hand. Right, I felt like sophisticated, like even though a White Owl was a White Owl, right? But it was like kind of cool. So yeah, I did enjoy it.
All right, and then bridge the gap. Bridge the gap between that and when you started to really get into premium cigars.
So probably in the 90s, late in the 90s, Don Pepin.
Mm-hmm.
Fuente, Avos.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what got me into the cigar industry. I went to a place called De La Concha that was on 6th Avenue at this time. Lionel and George, they taught me a lot about cigars. I worked on Wall Street. I went in there. I checked it out. I was in my 20s. I loved it.
Awesome.
That was probably my first spot. No, actually, Famous was my first spot, which was on, I think at the time, 38th and 9th or 39th and 8th. And I went in there. I spoke to Arthur Soretsky about cigars all the time. He had a small little shop. It was great. Yeah.
great guy to learn from.
My gosh.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What about, so you mentioned Wall Street, and I know a lot of people who know you know about your career before cigars. So give us a little kind of, what was a day-to-day like for you when you were in the Wall Street game?
I had to get so I hated being on a desk, right? I
Okay.
always got to be moving. So I'll go through this story again. When I was a kid, my dad did business in Canada, and I went to a mine. I met with some geologists out of they don't want your kids, whatever. So I ended up going to a mine in the Red Lake District of Ontario, where the Placer mines were, and I was hooked. I love gold mining. To me, it was incredible. So I got out of high school. I wanted to be a miner. And I sent my resume to Newmont, to Barrick, and they're like, who is this kid? I think Pierre Lasson was the CEO at the time of Newmont, and Barrick was Peter Monk. Those are the biggest companies, right? Newmont controlled the Carlin Trend in Nevada. Very big companies. They were in South America, all over the place. And Barrick controlled Canada and parts of Africa. So anyway, I sent in my resume because that's what I wanted to do. I want to travel. I want to do that. That didn't work out. They're like, oh, you're too young. When you get some more experience. I was discouraged. I was upset. But I went to Wall Street and I started working with this guy, Paul Carlino. He used to work for a company called, well, he worked for us, but before that, I think it was Merrill Lynch and Smith Newcourt, whatever. And he told me all about the South African gold stocks and how they trade like utilities, like Val Reeves, Trifontaine, Harmony Gold, Western Deeps. They were all, South Africa at the time was 15% of the world's gold supply. It was huge.
Yeah.
But it was very hard to get the gold out of the mines, extremely hard. And people would leave those mines and, the forum, where you going, they get shot. They would change their CEOs all the time. It's pretty crazy, actually. And so that's what got me. So when I got into Wall Street, I started learning about all the equities and the London bullion banks and everything. I started learning all about that and physical gold and how it worked. I met with some investors and I started getting involved with investors. And then I started working with mines when they wanted to sell a piece of their mine. I would get the investor involved. We'd fly down to high risk areas. I mean, you guys probably looked on my LinkedIn, right? So we dealt with international governments, international gold and silver sales. It was crazy. Some places had no embassies. I mean, we were down there with military and translators. It was nuts. But I liked that. I liked being from 28 to 42 doing that. I loved it. Then when I got back on Wall Street and I was running program trading for Schwab and I sat on a trading desk, I was miserable. I fucking hated it. I mean, I loved having all the contacts, meeting people and everything, because I love interacting with people, but I was bored, right? I can't be sitting on a desk. So, I eventually got burnt out from it, and I was going to buy a cigar lounge. I was going to open one up on Pacific Street next to Barclays in Brooklyn. I decided, we went to the trade show. I went with a retail. I was helping out in 2014, which is a great store, by the way. It's new ownership since then. Huntington Humidor in Long Island. In Huntington, phenomenal store, great people. Great selection, too. And so went down to see them. I mean, not went down to see them. I went down to the show to help them out, and I met some people and eventually ended up being partners with somebody who I can't really discuss about it, but we were partners, and then I eventually took over the brand. So there you go. I went to Nicaragua, and I was in love with Nicaragua, because to me it was like going back to those countries. I was happy as can be, and that was a quick fast forward of it.
So were you basically just sick of being the wolf of the boiler room, or did you?
It wasn't a boiler room. We were market makers.
Okay.
So market is a difference.
Okay.
So I'm explaining to you.
Yeah. I love it.
So the retailers or so you would get an order, you would give it to your broker. Your broker would call the order desk and they would call us. So we had like a Christmas tree of different calls from different areas all over the place. From Colorado, we had offices in Denver, Chicago, everywhere. They would call on those phones and give us the orders. Then we would execute them. And then eventually programs took over. Then eventually algorithms took over. And eventually everything's computerized anyway. So there was no real brain that you had to think anymore.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's how it worked.
So what would you say when you made the transition and you said, okay, were you in the market for a brand that was available to, talking cigars here, when you were, going to make the move to, and purchase Rock-A-Feller, were you in the market for a brand that was purchasable, or was Rock-A-Feller specifically on your radar?
So I was looking. So no, it happened by accident. Like I was saying, I
Okay.
met the guy at IPCPR. It completely happened by accident. And when I realized it wasn't working out, I had to change things. I completely changed the whole thing around once I bought it.
And so you said you fell in love with Nicaragua. You go down to Nicaragua. I'm sure you visited the factory. What were the, being, I mean, you knew about cigars, but at that point, I'm just assuming you didn't know about what it took to run a factory and all of that. Was there a mentor or a process that you went through to get dialed in?
I had no fucking idea, upon the expression.
Yeah, not
I
at all.
walked in there and I looked at what's going on. I was like, wow. And I kept my mouth shut because I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did say to him, because there was a translator there, why am I using your factory when there's 20 other factories?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a whole conversation with him. He's a fourth. I don't know if you know the guy, but Jose Valdez is a fourth generation Cuban grower from Pinar del Rio.
Yep.
And he's phenomenal. And I think he's an incredible blender. And after I met him, I just loved it. I think Don Gonzalez was there at the time. He was talking to me and he was translating. I think he was the one who was there, if I remember correctly. I've been there a lot since then, but I just loved it. I want to be involved in the process. I want to go down to that factory, down to our Dominican factory, which has Victor de la Cruz. You know, he was production manager at Davidoff during the Tobacco Dom days at Tobacco L&B. And I just love being involved.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm a hands-on type of person. Yeah.
And
because if everyone's got to smoke it, I got to know it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that pretty much sealed it for you, because like you said, you asked them, why should I stick with you? There's a couple dozen other factories I could go with, but it pretty much sealed it for you, seeing their attention to detail and all that this you're sticking with this factory in Nicaragua.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the changes that you needed to implement were more so maybe on the marketing front. You knew that you had good cigars, you had a good factory. So then when you kind of took a step back and looked at it from a business perspective, what were some of the changes that you knew you needed to implement at that point?
I trademarked everything. I took it down to 0 inventory and started fresh.
Okay.
Wow.
I took all the stores down to that no inventory, because whatever, that's a whole nother story.
Yep.
So I liked it because I was able to take a brand with a great name and turn it around.
Yeah.
And I like problem solving. I like doing things like that. You know what I mean? And I went in and met with everyone and just hit it off. You know what I mean? It's all about seeing the forest through the trees, not saying, here, take 20 boxes, we're done. And not, you know what I mean? I'd rather the guy buy 4 or 5 boxes and keep reordering 4 or 5 boxes. I want to build a relationship with all my retailers, almost like partners to me.
Yep.
And look long term.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same Wall Street mentality I had.
Okay. So starting from scratch like that, especially with the retailers, like you said, taking the retailers down to 0 inventory and starting from scratch.
Well, they had 0 because he wasn't doing anything. So
yeah. So how does that look as far, because retailers obviously, they've got their shelf space is limited and that kind of thing. And then when you start building back up factory production and building back up inventory and are ready to ship product, how did that look like from the retailer's perspective and your relationship with them, as far as saying, okay, we're ready, because I'm sure some of them were like, well, I'm sorry, but the shelf space I had for your brand is gone. So what does that look like?
It was about building trust.
Okay.
That's what it was about, earning trust back and building trust. And that's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what we did.
And that's the way to do it. It's because it's such and you use the word relationship. We use that word on the show all the time. Is this every relationship, or sorry,
Hello?
every business. Are you still with us?
You there?
Yes, sir. You
Hello?
still see it? You still see and hear us?
Hello?
Kevin, you see and hear us? No?
You guys see me?
Yes, sir. We see and hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you.
Nothing?
Okay. Why don't you go out and come back in?
Yeah. So we'll take a quick break. Just jump out of the studio and jump back in.
I can't hear you.
Okay. So try and go out and come back in. So,
Hold on.
Yep.
all right. So we are getting to a period of time where I'm most excited to talk to brand people about PCA stuff. I'm excited to ask Kevin about PCA things. If you guys have questions for Kevin for his process cigars, please fill those into.
What?
Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think ours is good.
Right.
I think he just lost his connection.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Q, thank you for putting that in the comments. Obviously, we want to support our sponsors as well, and they do smoking.
Now I hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah, little technical problem, but we're all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, sometimes cellular connections can be tricky, but it's all good.
All right. So now, Kevin, as we are heading towards PCA time, is Rock-A-Feller going to be at the PCA this year?
Nope, not this year.
Okay.
What is the strategy then for this time of year? I know that you're on the road a lot. Is that kind of the focus of just boots on the ground?
Yes, and something else that I can't really talk about right now, but yes.
Okay. Absolutely.
And I just got to give you guys saw me fired up this cigar on the toast cam, and nice. I mean, it's just, it's holding together just beautifully. The flavors from the cigar, it's so smooth. This blend is so smooth. The retrohale is effortless. I'm really digging it very much. Draws right on the money. So
I retroed.
Hey, Garrett retroed. He's a growing boy.
I am. So Kevin, we got some stuff from a little birdie mutual friend of ours. Said you were and probably still are a punk fan.
That's funny.
So I want to ask you, why is Green Day the best punk band ever?
I don't think Green Day is the best punk band. I think Blondie was the one who started it.
Wow.
Okay.
Blondie. I like that.
I think Blondie with Rapture was the one who started it, and Rip It to Shreds album.
I couldn't agree more. That was
you had the Sex Pistols over in England.
Yes.
And then Elvis Costello, you can go around the clock, right? Ramones.
Misfits.
Yeah. Dead Milkmen.
Joe Jackson.
Anybody get into the Dead Milkmen?
I'm not familiar with the Dead Milkmen.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them too.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they had one decent hit. Of course, the song totally escapes me, but so punk, and you played a little guitar.
Yeah, I played electric guitar for years.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever play in a band?
Yeah, when I was younger, I played in a band called Renegade. But yes.
Awesome.
I had
long hair, the whole deal.
was that kind of your music of choice for the band you were in? Was punk, or did you play a different kind of style of music?
It was more heavy metal.
Oh wow, nice. Mm-hmm. So you had the
I'm eclectic. I like music. I could listen to Rick Wakeman for hours. Yeah. And then I could listen to the Who. You know what I mean? Then I could listen to the B-52s. Then I can listen to classical music. I appreciate all kinds of music.
Love it. What music did you grow up on?
I guess in the 80s, actually. So I was born in 65. So I guess I grew up in the 70s. So my sister was a hippie. Yep, so she gave me all her albums. I think the first album she gave me was Grateful Dead, American Beauty.
Nice.
Great album, right? I think Skeletons in the Closet, Friend of the Devil was on that. Then second album she gave me was Joe Cocker with a little help from your friends.
Oh,
then she gave me Europe 72.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice.
Punk Rock Girl was the name of the song by Dead Milkmen.
Oh, there you
I gotta
go.
hear that.
Oh, it's so good.
Nice.
Well, I
So
went through all those phases.
I also, one of the questions we got that we have to ask about is that you have a love of magic.
Yep.
So how did that come about, and who are some of the people that you love to watch?
There's a lot of them. So, okay, it came about. My father took me to a show called The Amazing Randy.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
city.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know. Right, The Amazing Randy. He
Yep.
buzzsawed somebody, electric buzzsawed somebody on stage. And I remember walking around because they called the audience up. I was mystified. I was blown away. I was like, this can't be real, right? My mind's going a million miles a minute. What's going on here? This just can't be real. And I remember when I got home that night, I went through books and all this stuff, and I was like, Dad, can you take me to Tannen's? It's on 40th and Broadway. I want to get into magic. So Tannen's had a fire. So they had a fire sale. So I was able to buy a book called The Royal Road to Card Magic, was my first magic book. That, and then I went and got some lessons from this guy, Kevin, and funny as that is. And I got a couple of books called Now You See It, Now You Don't. And I then eventually I was Kevin Fantastico when I was a kid. I did some parties. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I can still picture the card with the hat and everything. And then I got really into it. Eventually I went to a magic camp. It was like an arts camp, and it was eventually on magic. And eventually I joined the Society of American Magicians. So when I was a kid, I used to go to Rubens. They used to do magic, and I would like bring them coffee, right? That was like years and years ago. And in the city. And then I met with guys like Doug Edwards and Harry Lorraine, who was an unbelievable card magician. Darwin Ortiz is an unbelievable card magician. He's probably one close to my favorite. Paul Harris was an unbelievable card magician. David Roth was an incredible coin magician. So all these guys, I just loved watching them and learning from them. And it's funny, the other day not the other day, about 6 months ago, I sold this store called Main Street in Jersey, in Woodbridge. And there's a magician there that I knew from when I was a kid. He's much older now. And he's like, well, let me see you do something. He's like, well, you got to get rid of that habit. You got to do this. And I was like, wow, it's just so cool to just run into somebody from so long ago that I used to do magic with. It's amazing to me. We used to go into back of restaurants and just practice. It was a lot of fun.
Very cool. And obviously, back at, TPE, was that TPE or PCA?
That was TPE 21.
21.
We had Kevin, the modern mentalist, who's excellent.
Yeah, he is. He is very good. We got some. There's some video up on our website and our YouTube page with him, and yeah, he's just he's a great card magician, but also his presentation is fantastic.
It is. The way he works a crowd,
yeah,
and people is fantastic, and that's got to be really cool for you guys.
Yeah, it's funny because I was planning on doing PCA and I wanted him to come, and that's one thing. And the other thing is that we actually made a cigar that we were going to do for PCA, and then this other thing just came up out of the blue, and I have to do it.
Yep.
But that cigar is still going to be around.
Well, we can't wait for it, man.
Well, and we had
Jason Ladani.
Yeah, we had Jason Ladani on the show about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it was in the middle of COVID summer, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jason Ladani, but he absolutely blew us away.
Good friends with Kevin as well, and actually, it was Jason who was the poker player, great show. So viewers and listeners, go back and check out our show with Jason Ladani. It was fantastic show.
So in my cup is Basil Hayden's bourbon this evening. Somebody, Todd was asking. Basil Hayden's.
And then we also hear
if you guys go on YouTube, there's this guy called Adam Kennedy who Di Vernon. I think it was Di Vernon. It was either him or somebody else. He's the only guy who could deal from the center of the deck in Kansas City, Missouri. and he went searching for him. And there's a video of Alan Kennedy. It's either Adam Kennedy or Alan Kennedy doing it. He was the only person who could do it. It's just unbelievable.
Dealing from
Darwin and the center of the deck, and Darwin Ortiz, and people would lose all the time. He would do it at a saloon in Kansas City, Missouri, and Darwin Ortiz was the world's authority on gambling to catch cheats. So you should, if you ever watch videos of him too, he's just unbelievable.
I love it. That is a fun YouTube rabbit hole, is card magicians, and I've been enjoying Shin Lim a lot recently.
He's incredible.
His reinvented
He is incredible.
It's amazing work. So you also have a love for baseball.
Yes.
I'm not going to assume, being from New York, but who's your team?
New York Mets.
We called that wrong before the show. We asked each other.
We did.
I was like, is he going to be Mets or Yankees?
Yeah.
And we called it wrong. So
we did. Thinking
I saw the Mets play the A's in '73. Charles Finley's A's. I was hooked. I became a Met fan. I stayed loyal to the Mets ever since.
Was that the A's with like Dennis Eckersley and was that, or
Jose
was that later
Canseco.
than that?
Jose, that was.
Oh, we could go through it. So you had Gene Tennis at first,
Jesus.
right?
Yeah.
You had Gene Tennis at first. You had Campaneris at short. You had Sal Bando at third. Who was the second? Garner, I think it was the second baseman. Right field was Reggie Jackson. Center field was Bill North. Joe Rudy in left. You had Vita Blue.
Vita Blue.
Catfish Hunter.
Catfish.
Blue Moon Odom. Raleigh Fingers was the closer. I'm missing one. Ken Holtzman, I think. I'm missing one pitcher. I think it was Ken Holtzman. I'm not sure.
My brain mixed up. It wasn't Eckersley. It was Catfish Hunter that I was thinking of.
Yep.
The mustache messed me up.
One Raleigh Fingers near the end.
Right,
of
he
his
had that
career.
mustache.
Yeah.
The perfect handlebar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't know. Allison's husband sports a great handlebar.
He does.
Yes.
And wears some awesome shoes.
Yes. Killer shoes.
Absolutely. That's how I met them. I noticed his shoes when I first met Allison.
Oh,
really?
Nice.
Yeah, I was at Skip Martin's party. I was like, are those shoes? Are you kidding me? Yep. He's a good dude.
Yeah, they're both wonderful people.
Yeah.
I have stopped trying to pronounce their last name, and I've now just it's Unholy Biscuit.
Unholy Biscuit.
Yeah. Love them so much. Did you guys hear about there was a no-hitter, but it wasn't officially a no-hitter?
No.
So I didn't know that if you are the home team and you don't pitch all 9 innings, it's not a no-hitter. If you don't have to pitch that final inning, it's not officially a no-hitter.
Yeah, it's got to be a full game. It's got to be a complete game.
I know, but that just seems like if you pitch an 8-inning no-hitter,
it's still a great. I mean, to pitch 8 innings with no hits is still a great game. But it's not. It doesn't. In the record books, it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah, it just seems like a bit of a cheat.
So speaking of that,
the Mets had one against Philly. Yep.
The Mets had one against Philly, but I don't remember exactly how long ago it was. Sometime within the last 10 years. And his name is escaping me right now. It will come back to me if somebody remembers. Put it in the comments.
For the Mets?
No, I'm talking about the Yankees. I believe it was a Yankee pitcher who was pitching a perfect game. And you remember Jim Joyce called that. It was the very last inning, and Jim Joyce called that runner safe at first, but he was out by a mile.
So I know what you're talking about.
There's actually a court proceeding in progress currently in the courts where I don't remember who it is, but there's some group of David. Nope, that's not who I'm thinking of. Sorry, Raul. But there's a court proceeding that's going on to try to get that fixed in the record books so that they give him. And even after the post-game press conference, Jim Joyce was like, yep, I screwed it up. The kid was pitching a perfect game and I took it away from him. I screwed it up. I made a bad call. And Galarraga. It was Galarraga. The name of the
Yeah.
pitcher, the last name of the pitcher was Galarraga, and he was pitching a perfect game, and it was literally the last hitter, and he hit a little chopper, and Galarraga is actually the one that ran over to first and took the ball from, I think, the second baseman, and he was out by at least 2 feet, and Joyce called him safe. And so they're working on trying to get that overturned.
Interesting.
I don't know if they'll get it, but
I didn't know that
he deserves it. It was definitely a perfect game. So I want to go a little philosophical briefly, Kevin, because we're big fans of the cigar world in general. Obviously, we do a podcast about it, but just as far as the cigar hobby goes, the cigar culture in the world, mainly in the U.S. where we live, what is it that about the cigar hobby that, because it's under fire, from whether it's from the FDA or from whoever else, it's under fire. And why do you think the cigar hobby is important to preserve? What is it that you think is important about the cigar hobby?
The hobby, or what's wrong with the FDA? Or both?
We'll say both. First, let's start off with why you think the cigar hobby is important to preserve.
So the cigar industry has become like a culture. It's become like a club, a group of people in all different states. When I travel the country, I feel like every lounge has the magic of their own lounge, right? And we all have that great common denominator, the cigars. We all know the bond. And it's just the people interaction. It's just phenomenal. It's just, first of all, and I got to say, a lot of women have come up in the industry so much now. It's so great to see. You know what I mean? And they're so involved, and it's just a wonderful industry. I mean, it's easy for it to become a hobby and start collecting different kinds of cigars because people are working on different blends and changing blends and having special blends out there. You know what I mean? To me, I just love it. And there's so much about it.
And it is. It's so rich in history, and there's so many countries that participate. And, and
absolutely.
It's what do you and you touched on the FDA piece of it. What do you think? What do you think as an industry we're doing right and doing wrong as far as working to fight the FDA and get things back to a?
I don't think we need to fight the FDA. I think we need to work with the FDA.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think we need to work with the FDA because they're going to be around a long time. They're going to be coming after us, right? I mean, back in the day, doctors smoked cigars and they had signs up in their offices of cigarettes and cigars. So, I think it comes down to dollar value, right? And how they can make money and how they can profit off it. Because let's face it. There's a lot of things out there that you could die from, right? You get hit by a car walking across the street and die. So my point is, you can't ban everything. And cannabis has become such a huge thing now, and they know they could tax it when they eventually put the Safe Banking Act through and make it legal. They can't really do that with cigars. So they want a product out there that they can make tremendous revenue off of. Although user fees and charges for tobacco have gone up constantly in cigars and cigarettes, right? So they're just trying to control it, in my opinion. So if we work with them somehow, instead of fighting them, I think we get a lot done. I think Rocky's great at that. I mean, with the CRA, Rocky's been tremendous for our industry. Tremendous. As a cigar lawyer, as a lawyer, and he's really helped out the industry. Him, Pete Johnson. It's a lot of great guys out there in our industry who's fought for us. Yeah. They should be very proud of themselves. And I just think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah, we're wholeheartedly agree. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I like the way you put it, that working with the FDA, because there's got to be, and hopefully there can be some kind of reasonable discussions had between, people from the CRA and PCA and like you said, guys like Rocky and Pete Johnson and Alan Rubin and so many others.
Alan Rubin's great too. Yes, I forgot him. Yes,
they're constantly putting in the work to get the message across about how different this industry is than big tobacco. That it's more, that it's about more than the dollars and more than the just a nicotine fix. It's this is a culture.
The big tobacco can go to K Street and lobby anytime they want.
Right.
They have such power. It's unbelievable. I mean, how big is our whole industry? $1 billion something?
Yeah, roughly.
Right? $1.3 billion, $1.4 billion?
Yeah.
You have one cannabis company alone that's worth that. And they know where they can make their money.
Right.
So they want to get as much tax revenue as possible.
Yeah,
and
we had that in Minnesota.
Forever. I mean, but tobacco's been around forever, and it's going to stay around one way or another.
Yeah.
It's going to stay here.
We had that in Minnesota.
I come from New York City, and the fact that they tax New York for tobacco 75%, it's crazy.
Yeah, the tax rates in some states, New York included, are off the charts. California.
I'm so happy to be in Florida. It's like it was 20 years ago in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, Florida's super low tax, pro freedom, that kind of thing.
One hoping to get John McTavish from Developing Palates has often been on panels that we've had, and he continues to say he saw what is happening in the United States unfold in Canada.
Yeah.
And continues to warn us to take action, and I'll piggyback Matt in saying I love the fact that you said work with the FDA, because there's such a propensity to say we need to fight this. And while I agree with that, that energy to go out and be active and do something, but to work with them and put that energy to a meaningful conversation instead of the static of this militant approach to fighting this oppressor. Work with them, because whether we like it or not, I think the FDA is here to stay, and catch more bees with honey.
Yeah, basically it. I mean, they're bureaucrats. They don't care if it's cigars, if it's rivets. They couldn't care less. They just have a mission. You know what I mean? That's what they're told to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Basically, it's federal government.
Yeah. So is it time?
I think so.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
All right. It is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, you guys know that Numero de los Muertos is brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn. And guys, don't forget, go to smokein.com and use code HBTC15 for 15% off your order. Some restrictions apply. So Garrett, episode 159, Numero de los Muertos, what do you have for us this week?
All right. So I think we're gonna get there quick on this one.
But not as quick as last week.
I'm hoping it's not as quick as last week. But all I'm gonna start with is 3 people died here.
That's it?
That's it. That's all you get.
Wow.
We're going to get there.
So we got to name a look. Is it Niagara Falls?
Yeah, it's not Niagara.
So Kevin, last week we did this game, and usually it takes a few minutes for everybody to put guesses in and figure out what Garrett's talking about. Last week, Rob from Boveda guessed right away. First words out of his mouth, he guessed Niagara Falls, and it was right. So Garrett's still a little upset about that, but
yeah.
So we're looking for 3 people who died in a particular location. Matt Ty's garage, not my garage. What did you say,
Buffalo.
Kevin?
Buffalo.
It's not Buffalo.
Okay.
Is it?
I heard about that horrible, the horrible shooting in Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. That was tragic.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it is in the United States.
It is. It is not the Pauser one-day workout.
Chicago.
It's not Chicago.
That's a common one, right? Chicago,
right.
New York City.
Yeah.
Trust me, 3 people died there.
Right. Yeah, I could basically
fuck?
name any. Yeah. No, it is not the Mall of America, not Death Valley, not Grand Canyon, not.
Colorado.
It is not Colorado. It is land.
Is this
Raoul.
is this eastern United States?
It is Eastern United States. It is now Mount Rushmore.
Is this
Wow.
is this a coastal state?
It is. It is.
Okay. Is it sexual in
It
nature?
is
No.
not sexual in nature.
Get your mind out of
North
the gutter.
Carolina.
Mm-mm. It is not at a Trump rally.
Is it New York?
It is in New York.
It is in New York.
Is this three people in history or?
Well, so I will say three people died here at this.
Is it the Statue of Liberty?
It is not.
World Trade Center.
No, sir.
Thank God.
Is it Empire State Building?
No.
Is it in New York City?
No.
So it's in Long Island.
No.
Is it the 5 boroughs in New York?
No.
Is it upstate?
It is.
Oh. Upstate.
And these deaths happen on land?
Yes.
We know it's not Buffalo, Niagara Falls.
Yep.
Oh, it's not.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with that statement. It is not.
Lake Placid? No.
Mm-mm.
Were these deaths caused by recreational activity?
Yes.
Alcatraz is in San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
other
no,
side
it's
of
not out there.
the other side of the country.
Well, Attica's in New York.
Attica, yeah.
Jason, yes.
What did Jason's music festival? Was it Woodstock?
It is Woodstock.
The first Woodstock?
Wow.
Yes. Oh
Right,
my
they got
gosh.
slammed. Yeah.
3 people died at the first Woodstock?
Yep. 3 people died. So 2 from
Yeah, he's
drug
right.
overdose and 1 from being hit by a tractor.
I'm sorry to laugh, but are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
Dead serious.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what about the later Woods? Because I know the
96.
Woodstock 99 that people went absolutely off the rails and went batshit
Yeah, they got
crazy.
trampled
yeah.
to death.
They burned everything. And
Yeah, they were taking porta potties down the hill, sliding like. Yeah, there was bad acid. Raul was right, and 2 people died.
Badass.
oh, somebody
Bad
brought a batch of bad acid.
Mhm. Yeah, that'll ruin your day.
That will ruin your day. Don't do that.
Yeah, I had to do something New York for you and bring it back. And when you said your sister was a bit of a hippie, I was
Yeah,
like,
like I should have knew that. Woodstock, of course.
awesome.
See, that took more than
Yes.
than 6.5 seconds. There you go. You got your mojo back.
That was a good one.
Thor, I can confirm there is good acid.
Is there Garrett can confirm from his past life. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Is there good acid?
Yeah. I mean, that was over 27 years ago now. So I don't know about today, but back then there was.
I'm not commenting.
That's the best way to go. Keep your mouth.
I plead the 5th.
So that was this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right, so let's jump into the lightning round. And the lightning round brought to us by our friends at J.C. Newman Cigar Company. They are America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and the American J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 112-year-old El Reloj Cigar Factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or their visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right, Kevin, if you could hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
The first name that came to my head was Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that. I like that.
Just to know his whole background.
Yeah, he's one of the
his thoughts on music. Yeah,
he's one of the people that I would have loved to just hang out with and have a drink and a cigar with.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Yes.
All right. Next question: if you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
Rocky 3.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Very popular answer. Great, fantastic answer.
Yes.
All right.
I love
know
these boom questions. Go ahead.
I know that this next question I'm going to move to something different because I know what it would be. So, who was your number one crush as a celebrity crush when you were a teenager?
Jacqueline Smith.
Oh, very excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
Yes.
I didn't face for a minute, right?
You had that one queued up, ready to go.
No, I mean, the Charlie's Angel, she was the best.
She was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everybody talks about Heather Locklear, and she was only on for what, a season?
No, she wasn't on that show. That was Farrah Fawcett.
Or Farrah Fawcett, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody talks about Farrah Fawcett, and she was only on there for
I
a
like
season.
the brunette. I like Jacqueline Smith all day. All right. So, Kevin, imagine that the zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are the 3 cigar industry people that you want on your team to defend against the zombie horde?
That's a great question. First one that came up was Terrence Riley, believe it or not.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
He's brilliant.
It was the first one that came up. From different manufacturers?
Anybody in the
cigar business.
Rocky.
Yeah.
And the third one. Oh, probably Abe.
Oh, I like that answer.
Absolutely.
I like that. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So that was our lightning round for this evening. Let's move into notable smokables. And as always, notable smokables brought to us by our friends at Ace Prime. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. So, Kevin, each week we name a cigar that was notable to us that we smoked recently. It could be something that's been on the market for decades that maybe we smoked for the first time in many, many years. Or it could be a cigar that is brand new to the market that we tried for the first time ever. Obviously, with Rock-A-Feller, you're smoking mostly your own stuff, but sometimes, hopefully, you get a chance to branch out and get something from another brand. Is there something you smoked recently that kind of caught your interest?
So I smoke a lot of cigars, not only Rock-A-Fellers, right? I want to see what my competition's doing.
Yeah.
But I smoked an Aganorsa Casa Fernandez Lancero, Old Maduro Lancero the other day. That was phenomenal. And that thing must have been aged now for a long time.
Yeah, if it still had the old Casa Fernandez label on it, yeah, that's got to be old.
Yeah, that was a terrific, terrific cigar.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I'm a big fan because I had a box, so I had one left. I smoked of La Roya Años 2012 Maduro.
Yes.
What a great cigar.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yes, 100%. What was your notable this week, Garrett?
I got to go to the cigar that Rob gave us last week. So last week, Rob from Boveda gave me a Lancero, and it was my first Balmoral Lancero that I'd ever had, and it melted my face in such a beautiful way. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, anytime somebody brings a bag of Lanceros, Garrett's the hairs on his arm stand up.
Yeah.
Garrett's a Lancero, and he brought some incredible old aged
They were
Lanceros.
old.
Yeah.
I love Lanceros.
my notable this week, and it wasn't this week, it was maybe last week, but it was the BDP from our friends at Cigar Hustler, from Mike and Mike at Cigar Hustler. And the BDP officially stands for Big Dick Palmer. I prefer the acronym brown dehydrated plants, because that's what cigars are made of, brown dehydrated plants. So that's what I put when I posted on Instagram. And he said on their podcast, he's like, you got the name wrong. I said, and I didn't say this to him, but in my car as I'm listening to their podcast, I'm like, yeah, I said it wrong on purpose, jackass. I just couldn't resist. But it was a pretty good cigar.
Love it.
Big cigar.
I haven't had it,
but yeah, it was a nice cigar. They got some at Sodi's, so when we're there next, we'll pick some more of those up. So that was this week's Notable Smokable, brought to us by Ace Prime, improving lives through fine cigars. Please visit aceprime.com to learn more. So to give our viewers and listeners an idea of some very cool stuff we have coming up in the next few weeks, on the 23rd, next Monday night, we have Tom Lazuka from Asylum and CLE Cigars. We will not have a show on Monday night, the 30th, because that is Memorial Day. It is a holiday here in the United States, and we're going to celebrate that holiday with our family and friends. But continuing into the month of June, on the 6th of June, we have Bear Duplessis from El Oso Fumar Takes on the show. He was our first ever live guest on the show 3 years ago, so we're going to have him back on for, I think, his third. At least his third appearance on our show. So and Kevin,
I want to start teasing the 13th.
Oh yes. So the 13th, we have got a mystery guest. And this is a show you guys do not want to miss. So keep tuned for the 13th. It is going to be super fun. Yeah, June 13th. We're not saying our lips are sealed.
Yep.
But it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's going to be some lead up to it and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So Kevin, for our viewers and listeners, give a final plug. Where's the best place for everybody to keep up with everything going on with Rock-A-Feller Cigars?
We have an Instagram. It's rock_a_feller cigars. Allison does our social media. She does a good job. We have on Facebook, Rock-A-Feller Cigar Experience, and we have Rock-A-Feller Cigars. www.vrcgcigars.com is our website, which at some point we're going to redo it. And that's pretty much it, man. Nice. I'm all over the country. So after Virginia, where are you headed to? From here, New York. Okay. Right on. Well, Kevin, we cannot thank you enough for being on the show this evening. We really appreciate the conversation, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Yeah, I had a great time getting to know you, and looking forward to seeing you more at events and as we travel. Can't wait to have a stick with you soon.
Absolutely, brother. Pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So viewers and listeners, guys, thank you so much, as always, for watching on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live. And for those of you, of course, listening on the audio podcast, we're really grateful for you guys keeping up with everything going on with How About That Cigar. If you have questions for Garrett or myself, make sure you can email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Follow us on all social media at HBT Cigar. And of course, as always, burn cigars,
not bridges.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.